everyone, welcome to a very special episode of Punters Inside Run. We're racing all around the country again. We have the Ballarat Cup, we have another $1 million race in New South Wales, the Gong at Kembla Grange, and we have what I think is the best race in WA, the Group 1 Railway Stakes. It's a very special episode, as I said. It's a bit like a 1972 Manual Kingswood. We're 3 on the tree, as you can see. We're not 2 today. Mick Sharkie's here as always, and Simon O'Donnell, co-host of the Fox Sports Cricket Lab. Cricket's important to you, but racing's been just as important in your life.
Yeah, it has, and it's really important this weekend because the Melbourne Cup was a complete and utter disaster.
It was a horrible day.
Shocking week.
Yeah, no.
Should be banned, actually.
Stop. It's a few people that might agree with you, but we're talking to them.
O'Donnell says Cup week banned. There's your headline. Mate, well done for getting here. You've been over at the sales in New Zealand. You haven't had a lot of sleep.
Haven't had a great deal of sleep, matey, but hey, I've had children for the last 10 years, so let's be honest, I haven't had much sleep for 10 years, so it's nothing really new.
All right, we got those big races to talk about, as I mentioned, and also a little bit later on, the big call with all the tips. But let's get stuck straight into it. And first up, we're talking the Ballarat Cup. It's a $500,000 race. It's a big day for the Ballarat local community. What did you work on the track? Because it's been pretty wet. We're going to get a good day Friday, the day before the Cup, but still working on a soft...
Not renowned. It's not renowned for its great drying climate, is it, Ballarat, when there's a bit of rain around? So I think we'll probably be playing on a soft track, I'd suggest. So, yeah, looking for horses that can get through that sort of ground, and we've seen plenty of them have exposure to that throughout the spring, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Simon, Chris Waller looks to have targeted this race. I mean, targets every race because there's so many horses, but he had 4, now 3 runners in the race.
Yeah, and look, you know, Chris places his horses so well, and he's bringing horses into this race, particularly at Tissue, in fantastic form. So he'll have a big say in the whole afternoon there on Saturday. Can
we read into the fact that Longvillas is scratched?
Maybe. Yeah, I gave the horse a really, really good chance. I thought its first run in Sydney was fantastic, and when I saw it in the acceptance, I thought, well, that's your Ballarat Cup winner. Obviously, something's not quite right with the horse, so they're saving it for another day, but Tissue now, given the strength of that win at Flemington, when she was backed off the map, Simon, wasn't she, that day?
And the form leading in, I thought was only fair.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it was boom.
It was the fact that she got held up the run before and everyone said, oh, hello, let's back that. That horse just got blocked. I don't know, that's why I think maybe some of the punters jumped in. Banker's Choice comes out of a completely different form line, comes out of a nice run in a very important race to McKinnon.
And stable's on fire. You know, Mike Moroney, he's airborne. Anything he touches at the moment's flying along. Johnny Allen on his home track, if you like. So I think that's a really good combination that'll have a say in the Cup as well. All
right, who did you land on for your top 3 for the Ballarat Cup?
Banker's Choice I landed on it. At Tissue, obviously, for reasons we've spoken about. Lord Vladivostok. I had time off. Runs have been a little all over the place early in this campaign. The last 3 have been good. Excuses the second last one. I think really starting to find the proper form of the horse after a long layout with injury. Really good each way chance.
Okay, Shark, where did you land? At Tissue?
Yeah, I'm with the Tissue. Elevated her from second to first with the scratching of Longvillas, so she's my top pick. I think Dark Dream, this is shaping like a target race for him. He hasn't campaigned sort of extensively throughout the spring. They've set him up for these provincial cups at the back end of November. He gets his first chance at one here, and Banker's Choice in next.
Yeah, I've gone with the Tissue as well. Hard to knock that win in the Matriarch, and 2 for 2 at the distance over the 2,000. I've got Foxy Frieda, and that was a forget run, Foxy Frieda. And Andrew Noblet seems to have this knack of training a winner on Ballarat Cup Day on his local track. So Foxy Frieda in for second, and Banker's Choice in for third. Any other bets at Ballarat that you're keen on?
I'm just making my each way, Lord Vladivostok. I think well into the double figures. I think there's some good value there each way.
Shark?
My best is race 2, number 1, Matty King's Consort, third up into a small field. He's stakes placed. There's not a heap of depth in this race. I think he'll go and bowl this over and might go to the Sandown Guineas on the back of it. And Shibley in race number 6. I thought for a horse that was great first up, no luck, ridden back and just had traffic problems. Then they went forward on it, and it was just way against its usual racing pattern. Still ran really well. I think it's a great each way chance at about $10.
Yeah, I'm hoping to make some money early on the day. King's Consort in race 2, but also in race 1, hypothetical. Bit of early money for it already. Talented youngster from the Freedmans, won first up, good down the straight, and handles all conditions and stays at benchmark 78. That's Ballarat. That is Ballarat. Plenty more to come on Punters Inside Run.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
$1 million racing continues at Kembla Grange. The Gong. You would have been on. Saturday night. The Hey Hey Saturday. Have you hit the Gong?
Red. Yeah.
Boom. You would have been on that. But another one of these big races. A little bit like the Hunter last week, Mick, Sharkie. A tough one to find. It's about $6 the field betting wise. It's a tough race.
Really tough, but I've been waiting for this race, Matty. I've been waiting for this race.
Why?
There's a horse in this race that I've just been counting down the days. I need like an advent calendar for brutality. Because I've been waiting for this horse to get to this race.
There are people in prison that have those.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's been like that, in the cell at Shark Towers. I'm just sort of crossing him off like that as we get towards the Gong. But I am chips in on this horse, brutality in this race. I think his form at the early part of this preparation in much stronger races over shorter trips showed that he's come back really well. A good run last week, just a little bit of a sighter, I think, for this week. Goes so well off a 7-day backup, Simon. I am ready to launch on brutality.
It's a funny race, Simon, isn't it? Because we've got horses coming from all over the country. Some of these trainers took a couple down to Melbourne for the carnival and then bring them back. And you got horses like Old Flame that won well at the carnival but draws the car park.
I think trainers are so much better now at preparing their horses for longevity in a campaign. You know, the old days coming to these sort of races, you just want fresh legs. You think, it's got to be fresh legs or you're not in it. These horses have travelled, and there's still a lot of them with a genuine chance in the Gong and other races, both Ballarat and Kembla on Saturday, off long campaigns, because trainers are just better than what they used to be.
Can Old Flame win from out there?
Don't know. I think the barrier's a big problem for it. It's a horse that sort of likes to roll forward and then just take a little bit of cover. How's he going to get that from that gate? I think it's going to be very hard.
And do we read anything to the fact that some have been racing on soft surface, now they get a pretty firm track?
I'm sort of umming and ahhing about this. I landed on promise of success.
Okay.
But I want her to be able to get the toe in the ground, and I've got a funny feeling we're already at a good 4. Unless we get some rain down that eastern seaboard, I might be in a bit of strife.
All right, Shark, where did you land for your top 3? We know you're on brutality.
Brutality on top. Promise of success in second. I just love her form. I know she, as Simon said, likes to get the toe in, but I just loved her form. Skylab next best. He was a great run first up.
All right. You're with Promise of Success.
Yeah, Promise of Success. Rustic Steel in second. Rustic Steel's won $1.7 million in prize money.
How?
Yeah, they knocked me over with a feather. When I look at the form, 1.7 million, where'd that come from? But, look, fantastic effort. And I'm staying with trainers in form.
Yep.
Johnny O'Shea, I think, has had a pretty good spring with limited horses. A little bit went against him early in the spring. Kerwin's Lane, that last run was a beauty. Comes into this race 5 kilos better. I think Kerwin's Lane can run a drum.
All right, I've got Hope in Your Heart on top. Won a couple of Group 3s before a nice 4th in the Golden Eagle. And in the Golden Eagle, in that race, beat home Valana and in the Congo, who last week in the Hunter run 1-2. And some of us tipped Valana, some of us tipped in the Congo, but we won't want to talk about that. I've got brutality. You talked about that 7-day backup, has won 4 times and finally gets to the distance, which is right. So, and I've got Promise of Success in his 3rd. So we're around the market with most of these at some value. It's a value race, let's be honest.
It is, absolutely.
Yep. All right, anything else at the Gong?
I struggle to find a horse to win a race, yet in the Gong, I'm going to have a box trifecta on, so I'm going to try and get 3 over the line.
Yes, I'm writing them down.
Out of 5. 3, 4, 5, 8 and 13. It's my box trifecta in the Gong.
So who have you added outside your top 3? I'll put you under pressure now, can you remember?
Old Flame from 18
Yep.
and another one.
Another one?
Yes.
That's your homework, ladies and gentlemen. Find out who the other one is. Not only has the Melbourne Cup been banned, Simon O'Donnell's given you homework and he's been knocked over with a feather. Shark.
I like the Warra, Matty, the 1,000-metre sprint race. Malkovich is the favourite.
Early money suggests it's going well.
He's got to carry 60 kilos though. And Dragonstone's a pretty sharp horse. You get 6.5 kilos off Malkovich. That might give Dragonstone the chance to knock him over.
I'm going with race 9, Nugget Reese.
Ah, yes, Nugget.
Nugget Reese from Adelaide.
Come all the way over to...
He's racing, he can claim because he's 75, but lightly raced 6-year-old, had a really good first race in Australia, good form, gets to the 1600 where the form is excellent, 7 starts for 4 wins and 2 seconds. So
I'm assuming there's an ownership group with an association with Nugget?
I hope so, because he's a very famous man in Adelaide and there is cricket on in Adelaide as we speak. All right, that is the Gong Railway Stakes. best race in Western Australia, 1.5 Group 1. Pikey has won the last 4. He's going for 5. He's back in Perth as we speak, but it's a difficult race. It's a great race.
It is a difficult race. You always get. It's a great betting race, isn't it? The railway. Each way odds usually most of the field, unless there's a very short Bob Peters owned horse. I'm with a horse that I reckon has got one of the best names going around at the moment. Carly's Karma.
Carly's Karma.
Carly's Karma. And I've loved the preparation. She was going through the grades, putting horses away with a really good turn of foot. Stepped up to weight for age last time. Sat with Massimo, the eventual winner, who just clung on. He led. She still sprinted up. I think that race brings her right on for this. And I think Carly's Karma, Simon, will win the railway.
Tick.
Tick, 2 for Carly's.
2 for Carly's.
Special K.
I'm against that. So all right, while we're here, take us through your top 3 for the railway.
Carly's Karma on top, number 10. Tricks of the Trade, I thought was fantastic last start. It was the widest off the corner, flooded home. That race will again throw it forward into this race. Alaskan God, who's the favourite for the railway, he was a mile back in that key lead up and finished off well. I just think Tricks of the Trade can maintain the margin on it to the line.
Probably the class horse, Alaskan God. So I've got him in my top 3, and Maraschino is my other. Awkward draw, but again, racing really well, has had a nice step up in grade to come into this race.
All right, I've got Tricks of the Trade on top, ahead of Alaskan God, and I've got number 13, Search and Rocks, in for 3rd. Won the Group 3 lead-up race and should get a nice. It's drawn well to get some nice cover behind the speed, and there will be genuine speed on. Yeah. There always is in the railway. All right, we've talked racing in New South Wales and WA. Next up, it's all the tips recovered on the Big Call.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
This is the Big Call on Punters Inside Run, where we just recap all the best bets right around the country. We've got an extra man on the table at the moment, Simon O'Donnell. Great to have you with us, Simon, but just recap who you're tipping for us.
Yeah, first in and last out, that'll be me. Banker's Choice, Atishu and Lord Vladivostok in the Ballarat Cup. For me, Lord Vladivostok at good each way odds. I think it's a value bet in the Cup. Let's go to the Gong, my top 3 there. Promise of success for Johnny O'Shea. Rustic Steel, 1.7 million Rustic Steel's one. Wow. And Johnny O'Shea again with Kerwin's Elaine in the Gong.
You get a new job as well now. You're going to be an auditor for Rustic Steel.
1.7 million.
What about in the
a lot of money.
What about in the railway stakes over in Perth?
The railway stakes, I've gone with 10, 7 and 5 in the railway stakes.
Carly's Karma, Alaskan God and Maraschino. Shark?
Best for me, well, Ballarat Cup first of all, Matty. A tissue number 3 ahead of Dark Dream, 6 in Banker's Choice 4. My best bet at Ballarat is King's Consort, race 2, number 1. And Shibley, race 6, number 9, around that $10 mark. I think it's a great value play. In the Gong, I'm with Brutality. Come on, please. Please, Brutality, number 13. Promise of Success, number 3. And Skylab is number 9. Hopefully, waiting's not the hardest part, Matty. Carly's Karma, number 10, Tricks of the Trade, 16, Alaskan God, 7 for me in the railway.
All right, in the Ballarat Cup, I've got a tissue on top from Foxy Frida at odds and Banker's Choice, number 4 to run 3rd. My best bet at Ballarat is in the first race, number 6, Hypothetical. My value bet is in race 4, another one of those Andrew Noblet runners. It was a good win first up from last. All About Eve, number 16. In the Gong, Hope in Your Heart, 12 from Brutality and Promise of Success. And my best bet at Kembla Grange is Nugget, race 9, number 4. And in the railway over in Perth, Tricks of the Trade on top from Alaskan God and Search and Rocks, number 13. Quaddie.
Here we go.
Just missed by 1 last week.
Righto.
Yeah, Jigsaw, just couldn't put the pieces together.
I know.
Yeah, try the veal Thursday. 1, 3, 4, 8 and 11. Should have. 2, 3, 4, 7. 5, 10, 13, 15, and skinny in the last. I reckon there's only 3 hopes, and that's Detonator Jack, Munhamek, and the Stokes runner, Wright and Rose. That's about 41.66% for the $100.
You know what, Matty? You'll get that.
I love it when you say that, because you say that every week, and I always get 3 legs in a second. Scoob, great to have you here, mate.
Nice to have been part of it. I stick with Melbourne Cup week at this stage. Still should be banned.
All right, we'll take that up on social. Well, Shark, mate, go home and get some sleep.
Sleep's been banned. Yeah, so anyway, we'll try and bring it back.
All right, and thank you for joining us on Punters Inside Run. Make sure you hit the button below to subscribe, and we'll see you all next week. Have a good time.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.